Hello, my name's Tommy. You may be confused because James usually speaks first on In Case You Missed It, but today I am. What's going on? This is a little special message before the In Case You Missed It starts this week, because we have a giveaway. So you've probably seen it in the description or in the title or wherever we put it. But we have a giveaway this week for Dragged Across Concrete on Blu-ray. To celebrate the release of Dragged Across Concrete, coming to digital download on the 12th of August and on Blu-ray and DVD on the 19th of August, we're giving you the chance to win a copy on Blu-ray. From the cult director of Bone Tomahawk and Brawl in Cell Block 99, and starring Mel Gibson, Vince Vaughn, and Tory Kittles, Jennifer Carpenter, and Don Johnson, Dragged Across Concrete follows two police detectives who find themselves suspended when a video of their strong-arm tactics is leaked to the media. With little money and no options, the embittered policemen descend into the criminal underworld and find more than they wanted waiting in the shadows. For your chance to win, simply watch the trailer, linked below, and answer the following question. What was the name of S Craig Zahler's first feature film? Was it Bone Tomahawk, Brawl in Cell Block 99, or Green Room? Dragged Across Concrete is available on digital download on the 12th of August 2019 and on Blu-ray and DVD from the 19th of August 2019. Comment below your answers and we'll be sure to get back to you and we'll get that Blu-ray sent to you if you win. Thanks a lot.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of In Case You Missed It. My name is James and as always I am joined by Tommy.
Hello.
I've been thinking about it recently and I have actually been on every episode of In Case You Missed It, and when I was thinking about it I was thinking how I like to tell people that I am Mr. Consistent, and you know what? I am.
So humble too.
So I was trying to work out how many you've been on because you've missed a couple, but it's the lost episodes where I get confused about, and whether maybe you've only missed one of our actual episodes, so maybe this is your 25th episode.
Maybe.
But maybe it's not. Maybe it's not.
I feel like it is. I feel like I've missed like 3 or 4.
Maybe, but I think several of those were lost ones.
Some of the lost ones I was on as well. So
That's true. If you were listening to this show, if this is your first episode, being your first episode of In Case You Missed It, this is your place to catch up on all the week's film news, trailers, and box office. In case you missed it, I'm gonna do that joke every week just in case there's new listeners, if you could call it a joke. Let's go into the trailers, and it is a quiet week because of Comic-Con and everything else going down, but this first trailer is one that I know, Tommy, you were looking forward to when we saw the teaser during the Super Bowl, and the bullet was like dropping and going through.
It's a great trailer.
Names.
I would be happy if that was the only trailer, because that's all you need is like 4 names.
Yeah.
Well, I should specify. Your only trailer needs to be 4 names. When those 4 names are Martin Scorsese, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, and Robert De Niro. Otherwise, you probably need a little bit more than 4 names.
Yeah.
So we got a first look at The Irishman, and it's obviously Martin Scorsese's next film with Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Al Pacino. And what did you think of this one?
I mean, it looks great. It looks gorgeous, well polished. It looks like a really fun story. I'm really looking forward to seeing Scorsese get back into like mafia sort of crime stuff, and I love this sort of like political scandal. Like, it looks deep seated. It looks really exciting. I mean, the elephant in the room though is the uncanny valley that we've got going on. The old CGI young face. Yeah, it looks a bit LA Noire.
It does a bit. When it was in motion, it kind of looked alright, but I've got the IMDb page up in front of me, and I just have Robert De Niro staring at me from the end of the trailer, and I'm really uncomfortable. Not as bad as Cats, but I don't know. It's something, because you're obviously building to it through the trailer. This moment where you get to see this young Robert De Niro, and there's like half young Phil. He's going to be young De Niro, and it's going to be about half and half. And you're waiting for it, and because the visuals aren't finished yet, but they've got a few months to kind of sort it out. But
they don't always complete visual effects for the trailers. So
Yeah,
there's still hope. Not much.
there is still hope. Here's a bit of a trivia question for you, Tommy. What was the last film did Scorsese and De Niro work together on?
Ooh,
Scorsese directed, De Niro starred.
was it Casino?
It was Casino.
Oh, wow.
Well done you. Good star. It has been a while. I feel like there's something missing. I don't know what it was. I don't know. It's kind of sort of my problem with first trailers where just trying to sell you on the people that are in the film or the characters rather than give you a story, which you normally get in a second trailer. And as great as it is to see the likes of Joe Pesci coming back and from retirement, and Al Pacino is always great, and De Niro is always great, but I really felt like there was something missing from this, and I really don't know what it was.
Appropriately aged humans.
That's it.
Imagine you can't do age people. Who would you get for a young Robert De Niro?
DiCaprio.
That's the correct answer. Thank you. Is that a yes, though, for you?
It is still a yes. I mean, again, it just looks so clean and crisp and exciting and like a proper Scorsese film. And I don't know. Martin Scorsese, Joe Pesci, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. It's hard to say no to that.
It is, and I think you can see it in the trailer that it's got Scorsese's name written all over it, and I think that's why it's exciting. You know, Scorsese, you kind of have faith in. I've got another question though. I haven't warned you about this, but I've got another question I'm going to ask you every week.
Okay.
If anyone listened to our review of the current war that Tommy did with Lewis,
Oh yeah, I was there.
they would have heard your story of your story about Miel and Triangle, and
Oh yeah.
you would have heard the story and learned that Tommy cries at every film. And I'm going to ask you now every week,
Yeah.
and I'm going to ask you if you think you're going to cry at the film for the trailer we've just watched, and if you say that you're not going to cry, but then you have to give me £5.
Well, I feel like it'd be easy for me to say I'll cry at every film because I might. There's a real possibility that I just might.
Do you think you're going to cry at The Irishman?
I don't know. I don't know the plot. I wouldn't put it past me.
Do you think it's the uncanny valley that might make you cry?
Maybe that's the thing that will stop me because I can't connect as much. There's not as much of a human connection there, so I can't. I might like that.
Fair.
That's one thing we should say though. Like that's the best thing about the reviews. These little stories at the end. Like obviously, famously, there's also like the Secret Life of Pets one
And
as well.
then I remember we went on like a really weird tangent on the Far From Home one.
I love that stuff.
Let's look at the next trailer. It's for... I'm actually really interested about this one. For The Lighthouse by Robert Eggers, who did The Witch. And Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson. We've got a proper old school vibe, but in black and white, or white and black, and it's got the 1.19 to 1 aspect ratio.
Oh, is it? It's not 4:3.
I'm pretty sure it's 119. I'm going to look it up quickly.
Yeah, it looked 4:3 to me. Like the old.
No, it's 119 to 1. What did you think of this one?
Yeah, it looks great. It looks really cool. I love these kind of showy like performance-y films where it's going to be very much about the performances. As if kind of anything that's shot in black and white like this, the lighting is something that really stands out.
Yeah.
And you can like really tell a story through like shadows and stuff, and like just from the few short shots that we saw, it just looks like it's really well done. And it just looks like it's going to be a really great kind of stylistic film. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
The black and white sort of side of it, and the just seeing this different aspect ratio really grabbed me, and it really surprised me, and I loved seeing that old horror sort of vibe to it. Something about it also felt a bit Lovecraftian to me, but I don't know, I'm interested to see the psychological sort of side of it, and I really love those sort of films, and I don't know, The Witch didn't really work for me, but this one looks great when you've got Defoe and Patterson. I don't know, I don't really have too much to say, but the show didn't give much away, but it's a big yes for me.
Big yes for me too.
Will it make you cry?
It might.
You can't sit on the fence every time.
I don't know, because the truth is, I don't know. I could sit there and watch I don't know, some gut wrenching drama that's like based on a true story that's like horrifying, and there just sort of be nothing. And then I could sit there and watch an episode of Modern Family and like be bawling. I've no idea.
Don't you think that Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson have the ability to make you cry?
I don't think either of them have before.
That's a good question. Not watched Twilight?
I've seen Twilight.
Didn't make you cry?
Wasn't that bad.
I'm trying to think of something Willem Dafoe would have been in, and probably would have been more likely to make you cry. John Wick?
John Wick. I don't think he made me cry in John Wick.
He didn't, but the film might.
Oh, the film definitely
exactly.
would have. Yeah, but
that counts.
Exactly.
No, that doesn't count.
I think it does. Aquaman? Didn't quite Aquaman? No?
God, I was too bored. I was bored to tears, if that counts.
It does. You didn't cry at the Great Wall?
See
Did you watch that? No.
Lucky you. The Fault in Our Stars? Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Grand Budapest?
I probably cried with laughter at his skiing scene in the Grand Budapest Hotel. That counts, because that is like
That
the
does count.
funniest scene in that movie. Very funny film as well.
Spider-Man? Didn't cry at Spider-Man?
Oh, that is like really tragic, his end. Spider-Man,
is.
but I don't think you get evoked tears.
Or Mr. Bean's Holiday?
Oh yeah, he's in that, isn't he? In the film festival.
was.
Yeah.
He's the director, right?
Yeah.
Triple X 2 you didn't cry at?
I'm just
Didn't make you
thinking.
cry?
I think. Do you know what? I might have cried in the first time I saw it.
Really?
With him specifically.
Oh.
Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo, I was about to get there, yeah.
Gil's got a tragic backstory, man.
What happened to them, do you reckon? Last we saw them, they were in their bags.
I think
he
he's alright.
died.
I think he was
I
fine.
reckon he died. You reckon he survived?
Yeah,
You reckon they're still in those bags?
I reckon like someone hooked him up. You know.
Oh, so he just became a pet again?
No. I mean, like another little like wild animal was like, "Here, mate." Problem sorted.
Let's go on to the next trailer. For 1917, I have a problem with this trailer in that the YouTube trailer, all trailers have the 5 seconds at the beginning, so you don't click off.
When they pay for a trailer to be an ad.
Yeah.
See what they could do, if they really wanted, was upload a version of the video that was like private, that was going to be a pre-roll ad, because basically they have like 5 seconds before you're able to skip it. So they want to show something cool in that 5 seconds, and then they start the trailer properly. Because usually the way a trailer starts, it's just like, it's like a slow little piano noise over a black screen and some text. And you're like, oh, what's this? But you don't have, in that 5 seconds, you're just going to see a black screen and a piano noise, and you think, right, skip, like you're just not going to be in. So they do that thing.
Yeah.
But then on the actual video on their channel, they have the same 5 second bit before it as well. But it's just because they want to have good views, because it's good for like the metrics and the analytics, and like it's good for the YouTube algorithm to have like the high view count and the high watch counts. So they keep it on there. So it's just kind of a fallout from that, unfortunately. But
I don't mind the shot for the 5 seconds, but it's then doing it again. But you can't have it both times, I think, at the beginning and the end.
that's just how it is on YouTube. That's not what the trailer is. If you saw that in the cinema, I wouldn't do that.
Or would it?
No, I wouldn't. No,
What did you think there?
I loved it. Again, I think we had this thing with with Kingsman recently, where may have some inside knowledge on this one, so need to keep it close to my chest a little bit.
I wonder what that is.
So that I don't break any NDAs. But I can say I'm very, very, very excited to see this film, and I have been for a little while now. And the talent on board looks really good. There's something I really want to talk about, but I don't know.
Is it because it's the same thing that I'm thinking of? I'm on the trivia page. It is on here, the thing. It's going to be shot in one single shot.
Right. Okay. Good. So, obviously, like one of the big sort of hooks for Birdman recently was that it was all quote unquote one shot, even though it's not. It's multiple shots, hidden with visual effects to blend in and look like one shot. And it's basically that, but in like 1917 in the trenches, and it's kind of like a race against time film. Slowing down because I don't want to go places I shouldn't go. But
No.
basically, all you need to know is Sam Mendes is directing a film produced by Steven Spielberg for his Amblin Entertainment Company. And the director of photography is none other than Richard Deakins.
Do you mean Roger?
Roger Deakins.
Who's Richard?
I don't know who Richard is.
Is he the brother?
Maybe.
Is that what your NDA was about?
That's it, yeah.
He has a brother.
He has a brother.
He figured me out.
Yeah. He just does like single shot films. Yeah. I really like this trailer. The obvious comparison was Dunkirk that we got a couple of years ago. Different war really, but a lot of people are gonna compare it and just like, no, it's just Dunkirk, but yeah.
Yeah, the Great War. And it's a film that's not in a lot of war films for the last 30 years, I'd say. I used to get them a bit more back in the day, like, Parts of Glory, stuff like that. But I think lately it's kind of less so. I mean, you had War Horse, you had Wonder Woman, I guess, which is a fantasy just at that time. But for the most part, it's kind of World War II is kind of the more filmed war. But there's the death toll of World War One was much higher. It was a much it was a very serious war. They call it the war to end all wars, the Great War. There was a lot riding on it, and a lot of history behind it that a lot of people don't know. So I think it would be it'd be a really important film in that regard. And I think it was only very recently that the last survivor of the war died. So now it's kind of all second-hand memories that were going on. I know for a fact that they had like a brilliant historian on board for this, and there's so much to it that's incredibly historically accurate. So I think when comparing it to something like Kingsman, or what was it called, The King's Man, or to like Wonder Woman, or maybe even War Horse, to be honest, I think we're just going to get a level of realism that wasn't in those other those other films that I mentioned. So I think this is going to be great. I think it's going to be up there in the award season. I think
December release date.
Yeah, I think this kind of the hook helps it, but I don't think it needs that. But just to see the work that Roger Deakins, Sam Mendes, Richard, complete together, I think it's going to be really exciting.
Speaking of Richard, you got a great cast alongside. As I spoke in last week's In Development, British actors don't get enough work in Hollywood, so you got a great British cast, pun intended. Richard Madden, Benedict Cumberbatch, Mark Strong, Andrew Scott, Dean Charles Chapman,
George McKay. They're the two leads.
George McKay, yeah.
George and Dean.
Yeah, no, this is a big yes for me, and I'm really excited for it. This is probably in my top 10 rest of the year. This would definitely be in the 10, maybe even top 5.
Yeah, for me too, for many reasons.
Will it make you cry, Tommy?
Probably, yeah, I could see that.
I reckon it will make you cry. Maybe I'm going to flip this game and predict whether if I can predict whether the film will make you cry, then you have to give me 5 fans. We've done one Netflix film today already, and we've got another one. It's a little bit different to The Irishman, though, in that it's another Marlon Wayans film where he's going to go for Eddie Murphy and play all of the brothers and sisters at the same time. And I just don't understand. I was thinking during this trailer, what sort of vibe do I get from Marlon Wayans now? And it's sort of an Adam Sandler sort of thing, in that he keeps trying and putting out these rubbish films on Netflix, but there's the market for it. It keeps making these sort of films, and people obviously watching them, which is why he's making more. But it's just the same joke he makes in every single film, and I don't understand how these films get made.
I think there's just an audience for it.
Well, why?
I'm not that audience.
Why is there an audience?
I don't know. I think it's
Should be.
I don't want to offend people. But I think it's very lowbrow comedy. So I think there's a lot of folks that works for, and I think they're very cheap to do.
Yeah.
And I think being a Wayans brother, I think there's even more of an audience just to that kind of brand name, for lack of a better word. So I think there's just kind of once it gets attached, it's just an easy, cheap, sell it, wrap it, ship it, job done kind of vibe to it.
I think there's still very much riding off the scary movie and white chicks train. I think he's still going on that, and that's what people know, and they see him and go, "Oh yeah, I like scary movie, I like white chicks," and then they remember those, but they don't remember the 50 Shades of whatever he did, and I think people just forget about those and think, "Oh, I really like white chicks and scary movie," and in arguably a similar way to what they do with Adam Sandler.
Yeah, it's true. I'm over it. I'm just over this kind of. I'm just over it. Like, Netflix needs to put out more films like The Irishman and Roma. They need to steer away from this.
So is this a no for you, Tommy?
It's a no.
It's a big no. It might be might be the biggest no I've ever given.
I don't know. I don't know if it's my biggest no ever.
Because I can't think of anything else.
I feel like I've given some pretty harsh no's though.
Take this. No. I don't think it gets harsh in this, but it's sort of a thing where it's such a hard no as to where it sort of comes around to maybe it's a yes just to see how bad it is.
Don't be part of the problem.
That's it. But then I think, I've got a lot of other stuff that I want to watch, so I'll go to the bottom of my list, and it's a big no. And I think Tommy will cry at this film.
Tommy won't watch this film.
Let's go into the headlines. As I said, it's a really quiet week this week. So the first headline we've got is, and we'll get onto full box office talk towards the end of the show. And Disney broke their own box office record this week, and they've already surpassed their previous record of 7.61 billion, which was in 2016 for the whole of that year, and they've already passed that in 7 months, January to July, 7.67 billion in 2019.
That's pretty crazy.
And when you look at what they've got coming left this year, when you've got Frozen 2, which will make over $1 billion, Maleficent, which was big, the first one, and Star Wars. And do you think they're going to pass 10 billion this year?
No.
Really? Do you reckon they'll get close?
Yeah, I reckon 8 or 9.
Close to 9? No. Right. I reckon it has to be over 10 to us now I'm thinking about it. Frozen 2, guaranteed billion. And I think Star Wars is a guaranteed billion. And that's 9.6 already. Plus Maleficent, you only need at least 400 million. And then that's over 10.
Might be controversial. I don't know how guaranteed $1 billion the new Star Wars.
I think it is still, but it's difficult. I think once the marketing hasn't kicked in yet,
I'm just basing it off,
and
obviously the last Star Wars that was released was Solo.
Yes.
And obviously it's a spin-off, it's not directly related to it, but one of the biggest theories around why it tanked so much was because it was the first film released after The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi being arguably the most controversial Star Wars film of all time. This is a direct sequel to The Last Jedi, so I wonder how much of an impact that'll have. I mean, I'm going to see it because
you love these films.
No, because it's
said about it multiple times on the podcast.
Because it's pretty much something I just have to talk about for this job. But I'm not that fussed about seeing it. I'm really truly not.
I am.
I'm not that desperate to see it opening night, and you know, if I didn't have to speak about it, fairly, quickly and promptly, I probably wouldn't be fussed about seeing it first week. So I wonder how many people feel the same way that don't have to see it.
I think part of the storyline was how quick it came after Last Jedi and the marketing around that, and because of the backlash of Last Jedi, I think it was so soon. I don't think people had time to get over it.
Do you feel like the backlash though is lessened in this time? Because I still see it.
Yeah, I think it has lessened. I think some people have come around to it a little bit. And I think once the marketing particularly picks up, I think people will soften again. Because it sounds like JJ's going to pretty much just ignore what happened in The Last Jedi.
For what it's worth, I think it will make $1 billion. I just really would not be surprised if it didn't.
I think I would be surprised. I think it would have to at least cross $1 billion. It's the end of the saga, and it's going to be a while before we see
remember what we talk about sometimes, where the average film-going audience sees like 3 films in theaters like a year. I just feel like with things like obviously like Lion King, Toy Story, Frozen 2, Endgame, I just feel like maybe by the time we get down to the new Star Wars, people are just like, oh yeah, no, I didn't really like that last one, I'll just give it a miss.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of... I think there's a couple of films that will come in the way of it. One would be Jumanji, and because although the last Jumanji came out at the same time as The Last Jedi, and they both did really well at the box office, but the other thing is Disney Plus, because that will come out in November, and it will have launched by Rise of Skywalker, and The Mandalorian will be going by then, and that's going to be week to week. I don't know how that will cross over with the release of Rise of Skywalker, but there's not going to be any Marvel content on this year, I suppose, until next year. So I think they might even... they'll be competing against themselves, and I think The Mandalorian... I think it really depends on the quality of The Mandalorian, and if it can get people in the Star Wars mood, particularly the people that didn't like The Last Jedi, and it'll get them in the mood to watch Rise of Skywalker. I've lost my point.
Okay.
Although it might mean that Star Wars is... The Mandalorian is going for more... and looks a little bit more practical. It looks more like the originals, but no, tonally it looks to be more adulty, perhaps. So I don't know. It really depends, I think. But I think there are. I think Rise of Skywalker will still make $1 billion, though. I think it would be difficult to deny that. I don't know what else is coming out this December. Actually, let's have a look. It would help if I typed in films. Cats. Oh yeah, Cats is gonna take all the money away from Rise of Skywalker.
People are gonna watch Cats.
People are gonna watch it, but it's not the same audience as Star Wars.
Little Women.
I'm actually way more confident after looking at that Star Wars is gonna make $1 billion, and I'm not gonna do a tattoo bet on it, but I'm pretty confident now that Disney will break $10 billion this year, and yeah, it's madness.
I think it's too much money.
Yeah, it is. Do you count 20th Century Fox now?
You've got to, I suppose.
Because then you've also got Ad Astra.
It's not going to make that much.
It won't make $1 billion. Jojo Rabbit.
Not even less.
And no, yeah, even less. It will do well considering what it is, I think. But it's not gonna make loads.
It's gonna really dent that.
A film called Hidden Life, I don't have a clue what it is, and then Spies in Disguise.
That'll make a little bit of money.
I'll make a little bit of money. Disney's going to make 10 billion. Let's go on to the next bit of news. We have some directors for the Dungeons and Dragons film that's in the works. And it's going to be John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, who directed Game Night. What did you think of Game Night? You loved it, didn't you?
Loved it. I absolutely adore. I think it was in my top 10 of the year.
Question. It might have been.
I think it might have been.
I mean, they also wrote Spider-Man:
Yes.
Homecoming.
Yes.
One of them was also in Freaks and Geeks. So they're really cool guys at the moment. Like, you know, working on some really exciting stuff.
I know you're a big D&D player.
I have literally got a 20-sided dice tattoo. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, I didn't know that just now. What would you want to see from a D&D film? Because it's a difficult one to make.
Wait, is that Marlon Wayans? Which Wayans brother is in that?
Keep talking. Vamp.
So, having already seen a D&D film with which as a kid, I have to admit, I actually loved. I really, really liked it.
It is Marlon.
Is it really?
Yeah.
How funny. You play, is it Snails?
It is.
Ridley!
Good pull.
I don't underestimate how many times I watched that film growing up. I watched that film a lot. I really liked it. Upon watching it in my later years, it's trash. But I think so. The really hard thing to sell about a D&D film, kind of in the same way as the World of Warcraft film, but actually a little bit more so, more difficult that is that primarily it's a game about. This is going to make me sound like really nerdy, but just go with it. Primarily, it's a game about imagination, and it's about putting yourself in a world that's not necessarily. So, me and my friends could play Dungeons and Dragons for 10 years. You and your friends could play Dungeons and Dragons for 10 years, and not only can our characters and stories be vastly different, but the world it's set in could be vastly different. And there's kind of like a way that you can interpret the world, and there's kind of a way that you can, like, you know, oh look, you can follow these gods and this god, and you know, it can have these rules, etc. There's a thing called homebrew, which is kind of where each like group will adapt the rules slightly and adapt the lore slightly. I'd probably say the vast majority of players do this. So the lore is kind of there, and there's people that know it very well, and there's people that play within that, you know, completely. But I would probably say the vast majority kind of adapt that to their own tastes and their own sensibilities. So, for example, we've been playing it for a good few years now. I mean, we've been playing like RPGs, tabletop RPGs for over 10 years, and Dungeons and Dragons, a good 4 of them, I would say. And we change everything, and like we just make it our own. We've got our own land, we've got our own rule, you know. So there's all these different things, and there's so many different ways you can take it because, you know, the limitations are boundless. So if people thought Warcraft was a hard sell because it's like a massive multiplayer online role-playing game where, you know, you have your own character and you do your own things, there's still firm groundwork in that. So there's lore in that can't change. You can't change that. That is just how that is. That's just the history of this world, like, no matter what. So when the film can tell the story of that history, you know, the guidelines are there. Dungeons and Dragons has lore and it has history, but it can be largely disregarded. And the biggest selling point of Dungeons and Dragons isn't that lore and it isn't that stuff. It's the mechanics of how you can make it your own. And I think when you create a film, you take that key ingredient away from it. So this presents both a strength and a weakness. So its weaknesses are quite obvious, in that you know, it's not going to be as good as whatever you play at home with your friends and like in your mind. Its strength is we've now got a couple of guys who are clearly very talented, very funny, who can make a crazy large fantasy film, kind of based loosely on Dungeons and Dragons, but also pretty much about whatever they want. And films like that don't get made unless there's an intellectual property attached to it. And Dungeons and Dragons happens to be a huge intellectual property. That also happens to be kind of hot right now because kind of geek culture's in. I've not seen it, but I think they talk about it in Stranger Things. Is that right?
Yeah.
So
it's
kind of hot right now. So it's kind of allowed these talented people to just make what I'm sure is going to be. I think it's based on the Forgotten Realms, which again is kind of like a side step of like Dungeons and Dragons. It's like a alternate lore and stuff like that.
Right.
So I think we're just going to see like a really cool fantasy film.
Yeah. I don't really have anything to add. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, but I guess it's just to hit Tommy up if you have more questions about Dungeons and Dragons. But I'm excited for it. I want fancy stuff. If you've watched Game Night, you kind of get some tabletop-y shots in the film. Do you reckon they'll get sort of...
No, because it's not that kind of tabletop game. There's not like a board or figurines and stuff like that. I mean, you can have that, but you don't need that.
Yeah.
The only thing you have is dice, and there's not going to be any dice in this film.
There could be dice. Are you willing to bet on that?
Yeah, there's not going to be dice in this film. Same way there's not a keyboard and mouse in the Warcraft film.
I think that's different. Like, dice is so easier to put into a film than a keyboard and mouse. They could just have like some children playing. Yeah.
Bones on a... Sure, maybe.
You went about that?
Why are you so obsessed with betting this week?
I don't know. I feel like this one I could win. I'm confident that.
There's already been a Dungeons and Dragons film and there was no dice in it.
Or was there?
I've seen it so many times.
That's what they were on.
Maybe.
So the last bit of news is just a small little bit, and then we'll do a little bit of talk on someone else. We got confirmation that Darkseid is going to be in New Gods. It's a little bit interesting because of he was obviously going to be in the Justice League film and Zack Snyder's film, and this new direction that DC are going to head in. In Justice League Part 2, and it would have come out months ago, or whatever it was, and they kind of spoke about, and it now kind of says that DC are kind of rewriting what they're going to do, and they're making big changes. But yeah, I don't know how much there is to talk about it.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's the news, but I'm kind of done to death with it, to be honest with you. It's like you said at the beginning, I'm sick of it.
Yeah. So let's just quickly move on. So I thought with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood coming out, I thought we'd do a little discussion on Tarantino and just talk about some of his films and just have let's see which one's our favourite. But I thought we'd start it off by seeing if you could name all of his films.
Oh, I think I probably could. This is 9 films,
yes,
right?
9 films.
Do you want me to go in like release order?
If you want. If you think you could do it, go for it.
Okay, so he started off obviously with Reservoir Dogs.
That's one.
Then he went straight into Pulp Fiction.
That's 2.
I say straight into. It was like what? 2 years later.
2 years later.
Then was Jackie Brown.
Mm-hmm. Then was Jackie Brown. 3.
This is where it gets tricky. So Jackie Brown was probably late 90s.
You want me to give you the year?
What, of Jackie Brown? It was like 97 or 98.
Yeah.
It was 97. I don't know how much that.
So then Kill Bill. This isn't my answer yet. So Kill Bill was 2003 or 4. I'm gonna say Kill Bill was next. I don't think there was anything in between there.
It was 2003 and 2004, because yeah.
Oh yeah, because he had to split it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Right, how many have I done so far?
You've done
Pulp, Jackie, Bill. So that's 4.
Yeah.
Next must have been Death Proof next.
It was Death Proof. 5 for 5.
So that's like 2006? 2007.
Yep.
Okay, so next was Inglourious Bastards. That was 09.
Mm-hmm.
Which means Django 2012.
Yep.
Oh yeah, then Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
And
Once
Upon a Time.
Yeah, you did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
Wow. Should have bet on it. So out of those 9, which would you say is
Inglourious
your favourite?
Basterds is my favourite Tarantino film.
Same here. Was it just because of the opening scene?
No.
It's a great scene.
That is a great scene.
That's one of the best scenes.
So many great scenes. The like rendezvous in like the basement bar when they're all playing, whatever that game's called, where you like lick a card and stick it on your head and all stuff like that. Great scene. I mean, Christoph Waltz is amazing in like every scene of that
he's
movie.
incredible.
Brad Pitt is unrecognizable in this film. The whole concept of like the Jew hunters, he's the Jew hunter, and then you've got like the Nazi hunting Jews, like a team of like just like Jewish soldiers, like led by like the Apache. Oh, it's so good. I love it. And what an ending. That, I mean, the amount of times you have these war films where you're just like, well, you know, I know how it goes. Of course, Tarantino will be like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
That's why you love Tarantino.
The whole time you're thinking there's these two simultaneous plots to assassinate Hitler, and you know both of them are going to fail spectacularly and things aren't going to go well. But they both work.
They both work. They both work. In the most Tarantino way, and it's fantastic. Because you've spoken a little about Inglourious, I'm gonna go Pulp, and that it's a funny one because when I think about it, sometimes it's Pulp. I know what it is. It's really good. It's solid, but meh. And then I watch it and think, wow, this is incredible. This is absolutely one of the best films ever made, but I don't know what it is that makes me think in that downtime in between there. I'm like, I don't know. And I kind of get back in the zone when I start watching it, and I'm like, the storylines, the different timelines, everything that's going on, it's so well written. And I think that's where Tarantino became Tarantino that we know and love.
I feel like I'm probably a Reservoir Dogs over Pulp Fiction guy.
Interesting.
But only just. I think it usually depends on whichever one I watch last.
Right.
But I actually really like Kill Bill more than most. I think that film is kind of brilliant, and I think when you look at it obviously you've probably heard of the like shared universe kind of thing with all of his films, and how like Kill Bill would be like what Uma Thurman's character from Pulp Fiction acting in like an action movie in a world that's been like completely desensitized to violence because, you know, violence is what won the Second World War. And I kind of love that, and I kind of love looking at it through that lens. It's just this great like hyper violence, hyper reality kind of action film. But there's also some like really cool moments in there, like she's like a samurai, it's just brilliant, and like the action, even though it is over the top, it's still kind of reserved in certain places and like held back in certain places, and not a complete gore fest. I just think it's so much fun. I think it should be viewed as one long film. I think it would fly by. I love it. I think it's really underrated in his filmography.
I think probably put Django as well. It's difficult to rank Tarantino, of course. None of them are overly bad.
Jackie Brown's bad.
I haven't watched Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown's not good. Death Proof's fine. It's not good though. It's better than Jackie Brown.
But even then,
I could rank my Tarantino films, I think. And I was just about to say some major clickbait. Like my next sentence was about to be a clickbait. I was about to say I can rank my Tarantino films. It might surprise you.
Go on then, do it. Go for it.
Okay, from 8 to 1 would be Jackie Brown.
Okay.
Death Proof.
Okay.
Django Unchained.
Interesting.
Yeah, I prefer Hateful Eight. I think it's got a better score.
I really struggle with Hateful Eight.
I like the one location, kind of like Reservoir Dogs. I think the performances are stellar throughout. I think Django's fine. It's a good film. It's a really good film. Don't get me wrong. As a whole, it's just, I don't know. It doesn't fit quite right with it for me. I'm not sure what it is. I think Hateful Eight's just a bit more me. I prefer that kind of mystery that unravels itself. Right. Then I'd go Kill Bill, which I just sort of spoke about. Then I'd go Pulp, then Reservoir, then Glory, House, Bastards.
I haven't seen Jackie Brown or Death Proof, and I feel like I don't even Kill Bill. I haven't watched it fully, so that's 3 off my list. Reservoir I like to an extent. I don't love it. It's a similar sort of thing as Safeway, and that just doesn't rank as high for me. The slow burn just doesn't work as well for me with Tarantino, but once it gets into it, that's interesting, but it's the getting to that bit that I don't enjoy. I'd probably go Hateful Eight, Reservoir, then I'd go Django, Pulp, then Inglourious. Several of them I've seen. Yeah, because there's only 5. Yeah, that makes sense. I also want to give a shout out to, if you listen to our In Dispute, which we've got one coming up this week. Oh no, I haven't looked at Django yet. That'll be the next episode to record.
Oh yeah.
It's not this week that has Django in, but we would have spoken about Hateful Eight in the 2015 one a few episodes ago, and see if we disputed anything.
I think I disputed your dispute in that, didn't I?
Yes. Yeah, because it was 2015, and spoiler alert for that end dispute, but you and Steve both disputed the score. No, I disputed the score, and I wanted John Williams. Yeah, that was it. And you disputed me because I disputed and gave it to John Williams for his score for The Force Awakens, and Tommy wasn't having it.
No, I'm still not having it.
I'm having it.
John Williams has already won, right? Not only has he already won an Oscar, he's already won an Oscar for a Star Wars movie with a better score. And Ennio Morricone is the master composer of so many amazing historic scores, including the original spaghetti westerns with like all the Clint Eastwood, like these classic things that everyone knows and are, I would easily say actually just as iconic as any Star Wars score. And he'd never won before until The Hateful Eight, which is a brilliant score which I listen to all the time, and you wanted to take it away from him.
So what you're saying is that it's a Lifetime Achievement Award?
Not at all, because it's one of my favourite scores. It's easily the best score of that year as well. I always, to be fair, of any Tarantino film, the only score I ever go back and listen to is The Hateful Eight. It's a fantastic score.
Fair enough. I'm just going to stay with you, John, don't worry. I've got it back.
That's crazy. That's crazy. It's not even his best Star Wars.
I really love it. I really like Race 3. I'm sure I spoke about it on Dispute, but I really like, we have Race 3 and Jedi Steps, the Resistance theme. I really love all of those. And I love it. Maybe it's too much for my Star Wars side coming up, but I don't care. I'm not going to apologise for it. I'm going to stand up for it.
You should apologise.
I'm always the sort of person thinking with my heart over my head.
Your heart is in the wrong place.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, that explains a lot. Let's move on to last week's box office then. And if you listened to last week's show, then you know how close mine and Tommy's predictions were for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It was Tommy who won, and won by 1.08 billion. And
doesn't matter if it's by an inch or a mile. A win's a win.
But it is a win, and you've taken the lead for the first time since we've been keeping score.
Yeah, since we've been keeping score, alright.
How do you feel? Big moment.
Yeah, I just feel like it's right.
I don't think it's right, but let's look at last week's office. And in fifth place, we had we both predicted The Crawl would come in at fifth place with 4 million. Toy Story 4 coming in fourth place with 10 million. Far From Home coming in with 12 million. The decision maker was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, coming in with 44.1 million, weighing more towards Tommy side, more than my side, but that's okay. I'm going to make a comeback, it's fine. And Lion King, less than we expected, with 76 million even. And it's a big drop off of about 60% from its first week. We kind of expected bigger, going about 90 million.
Yeah.
And what do you think the reason for that is?
I think it's the quality of the film. It's not all there. It's not a great film. It's fine. It's just it doesn't quite deliver the way it should. It doesn't build upon the original in any way. It pales in comparison.
Yeah,
frankly.
Interesting.
Interesting. That's you're letting your.
It's not the worst film.
Just a little bit. Do you have your list ready for this week?
I do have my list ready for this week. What are we doing? Because
so we're recording this late, and the estimates are out for this weekend's. Neither of us have looked at it, so we'll just do our predictions, and then we'll do a live on air.
Oh, so like right now
we'll find out who won.
Are we?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
What's out this week?
It's Hobbs and Shaw this week.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw is the only thing big worth watching. If there's any sale, go and watch those because they need money.
I can't wait. Have you seen it yet?
Seen it.
I have.
Okay, I'm seeing it.
I can tell you that
tomorrow.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. It is.
Yes.
And there's also
I really can't wait.
Mid and post credits stuff, so stick around for that if you haven't watched it yet.
It's not the same as mine development, is it?
I'm not saying what it is. But go and watch the in development if you haven't watched that. Go on. Do you want to do your list?
You can go.
I'll go first. In 5th place, I put Toy Story 4.
Ooh, interesting.
Have you gone the other way around? Yeah, it's going to be very close between these two, I think. And I put Toy Story 4 with 5 million.
Wow. Okay.
We'll get to your list. Spider-Man Far From Home with 6 million in 4th place. I think it's going to be really close to the bomb. Once Upon a Time in 3rd place with 20 million. Lion King was 2nd place with 37 million. To put the same number.
Yeah.
And number 1, I've put Hobbs and Shaw. I've gone for the 62 million.
Okay. So, I've gone for number 5, Far From Home.
Oh, interesting.
With 7.4 million, so I've gone for a bit more money, didn't you?
Interesting.
And then Toy Story 4, I've gone for 7.6 million, so I think it's just about going to edge it.
Very close.
It's very close.
I think Once Upon a Time. What did you say for this? I've gone 22 million.
I've at 20 on the dot.
Okay. Lion King, as I said, I've got 37 million.
37.
And then Hobbs and Shaw, what did you say?
I said 62.
Okay, I've gone 67 million.
So
a little bit higher, but it won't matter to the numbers this week.
No.
It'll be to the order since we've got different 4 and 5.
Yeah, it's true. Let's find out. It's the moment of truth. As John, if you were right,
have you got it in front of you now?
Or if you're wrong,
go on.
Let's have a look at it. So we'll go down the list. Number 1, Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. It might go up and down because it's estimates, but 60.8 million.
I was close on that.
Wow.
It's quite low. I was almost tempted to go higher because I know there was a lot of people that kind of weren't into Fast and Furious, but kind of interested to this and it's coming on point.
Well, because it's marketed with The Rock.
Yeah. And they're not leading with the Fast and Furious aspect of it. There's less cars in the marketing. It's not a car heavy film.
I love cars because Transformers makes a lot of money.
Transformers does make money, yeah.
When they made one with less cars in it, it made less money.
That's true. You're right. You're a genius. You figured out the formula. Cars equals money. Look at all those cars in Endgame and Avatar and Titanic. And second place we put 37 million for Lion King. They got 38 million. So we're both very close. Once Upon a Time on Hollywood, in Hollywood, 1 to 2. There's something on Hollywood Seinfeld film. I don't know. It made 20.02 million. Oh, smashed that one. Thank you, James. In fourth place, the tiebreaker with 7.75 million was Far From Home. Far From Home. And the Toy Story 4, it was 7.15 million.
I had closer numbers as well.
If you just swapped those two over, then we still would have won, I guess. I don't know.
2 million closer
to the first one, but
to that price as well.
But the comeback is on, and I've leveled up the score. It's 4-4.
Well, we'll see, because these are only estimates.
That's true. They are estimates.
Actuals could...
Yeah. It's a really good point.
It's happened before. Really the actuals could change everything. It wouldn't be the first time. How close are they?
They are 6 million apart. No. 600 million. No, wait. 600,000.
Right, I was going to say, that's a lot. Yeah, 600,000 is not
Can't
a
do
lot.
maths.
That could change.
I can't do maths.
It could change. It could definitely change. It won't, but because I'm going to phone Box Office Mojo, because that's where we get the numbers from, and tell them not to change it.
I'm going to try and find alternate sources if that doesn't back me up.
We only ever use Box Office Mojo, so I think it's only fair that we just use that.
That's fair.
Yeah. I'm going to find their number and phone them up and convince them. We'll come to the end of the show now, and that's it. So less news. We had some good discussions, so maybe we'll do less headlines, more discussion in the future.
Yeah.
So what have we got coming up? We have In Dispute coming up on Wednesday for 2013 films, 2014 Oscars.
2014 Oscars, 2013 films.
Yeah.
Still hate
I think
that.
so.
Yeah. And if you listen to our In Development that was out during the week, if you haven't, go and check that out on YouTube. Yeah.
What did you say?
It's the best episode of it yet.
Yeah, it is definitely the best. I really enjoyed doing that. I've got some next pictures for the next in development as well, so we'll talk about that off air. And if you did listen to that, then you'll know George, who was on the in development, and he's also going to be on this week's In Dispute. It's a good episode of In Dispute.
The 2015 for 2014 films was my favourite.
Why? Because you disputed everything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And don't forget to enter our competition and giveaway. Go and watch the trailer. There's a link below if you're watching this on YouTube. And then comment down below this video. And go and check out our social media for other chances to give away and chances to win stuff. You can find that on Instagram and Twitter. That you can find at Insider Network on Instagram. And Twitter is Insider Network _ and that's true. You can have a crisp high five if you can tell me which one of those was my first ever press screening, which is a fun fact. You can just have a high five for that one. You're not getting a prize. So if I was you, I'd enter the actual giveaway so you actually get something worth something. But go and find Tory at Mr. TG Green, and you can follow me at Floodgate28. And you can tell me which one of those films, and I'll tell you if it was right or not. Yeah, social media. So check out In Dispute on Wednesday. Check out In Development if you haven't already, and we'll see you next. We'll be back on Sunday next week. Goodbye.